Service. What is up, listeners? Welcome back to another episode of the Full Service Podcast. I am Tank Smith, your host. Today is episode 97. Thanks for being here. Shout out to my guest from last week, Heather Riley. Heather, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. It was such a good time. Listeners, if you have not yet, make sure you are following Heather. She is on Twitter at The Riley Effect, on Instagram at Heather Riley XO, and you can find her website at heatherrileyxo.com. I have links to all of those in the show notes from last week. Hit the show notes, click the links, give her a follow, show her some love. As always, you can find us on Instagram, on Twitter at Full Service Pod. I am at Tank Funkadelic. If you enjoy the show, make sure you are subscribed on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Hit that plus button, that heart button, that subscribe button. Maybe it says follow, and you'll be alerted as soon as those new episodes drop every single Tuesday. Ratings and reviews help so much for visibility for the show, so if you can, hit us with a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, write us a review, tell somebody about the podcast. I will love you forever. If you want to support the show, the best way to do that is through our Patreon. We are at patreon.com/fullservicepod. Each month we have at least one Patreon exclusive episode. This month's episode should be dropping by the end of the week. So if you want to hear that, patreon.com/fullservicepod. Today, episode 97. So excited. Oh my God. My guest is one of my friends, New Orleans-based dancer Patricia. We actually met at the Treasure Club in Asheville in 2018, like literally my first week of ever getting into this at all. Like literally the first week of me ever going to strip club in my entire life. We met, and I can say without a doubt that if that hadn't happened, then I don't think this podcast would be a thing. So forever am I indebted. Shout out Patricia, thank you, and I appreciate you coming on the podcast. We sat down maybe a week ago and recorded this, so it's fresh, it's new. We talked dancing in New Orleans, we talked dancing in Asheville at the Treasure Club, her experience working there. We talk me learning what the fuck is up at a strip club and being new, you know. We look at boundaries within the club. We talk the difference between men and women at the strip club. We talk COVID, how it's affected everything, getting back to work. We discuss Cardi B and her influence on the discussion around sex work. We look at the quote-unquote hoarchy. We talk privilege. I hate saying hoarchy. We talk about it though. We look at the future, where she sees herself in the future. We talk comedy. So much fun. Oh my God. Patricia, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. People, follow Patricia. She is on Instagram at Patty with the Cake. That is at PATTIWITDACAKE. I will have a link in the show notes. Click the links, give her a follow, show her some love. I'm going to stop talking. I hope you enjoy my conversation today with Patricia. Later.
Okay, so Princess Leia in that porn, I forget her fucking name. It's like, I can't fucking remember what this porn star's name was, but she was a feature in Baltimore, right?
Okay.
So porn stars when they're features, like it depends on where they're at or whatever, like, and who they are, but they usually come out and they do like 2 or 3 performances and, you know, just like make a bunch of money on stage and then sell like merch and whatever else. And they're usually fucking nuts. Like Bonnie Rotten was fucking insane. Gianna Michaels was the fucking best.
God, Gianna Michaels, she seems amazing.
Yo, she literally was fucking incredible. Like, what a performer. And also, like, stayed after and, like, I got her to sign a poster for Nick because, like, Nick used to jack off to Gianna Michaels, like, constantly when he was, I don't know, 14 or something.
Yeah.
So it was, like, his dream. Like, he got to meet her in person. And my dream was to meet Alexis Texas, which I did, but I saw her in, like, now I'd seen her in, like, 4 different places. She's kind of an asshole. But she also, like, owns her own porn company now and shit.
Oh wow, hell yeah.
I think that's what happened with her is that she like just took over and like realized the money was like in making the porn and opened her own porn studio. I think that's what happened.
Okay.
Something like that. Anyway, Broken Glass. Okay, so or whatever the fuck her name is, she comes to Baltimore. So typically they have like this like big build up when they come to the stage. And I don't know if you know this, but Baltimore, especially at this time, was like ridden with Percocet. Like you could go fucking anywhere and find a 30 milligram Percocet. There was like a bench outside the fucking back door of the Hustler Club where drug dealers would just sit and
Oh
like
shit.
fucking dude, it was like way different than I ever expected. So anyway, this bitch comes out and she's like obvious. I don't want to make assumptions, but she's obviously fucked up. So she is in like a nurse's uniform with like white stockings, and she gets up and she starts dancing, and she doesn't have like huge tits. She like didn't shave her pussy, but I was like kind of into that flex. Like I'm a feature and I have a hairy ass pussy. That was kind of cool. I don't think that was her intention. Like I think she just like forgot to shave, like for real, because she was so out of it. And so she went to pick up a shot glass with her tits, and the shot glass fell through because I've tried to do that before and it just falls through. So the shot glass fell through, broke on the fucking stage, right?
Oh god.
She did not react. She did not
Really?
react. She just kept twerking on top of fucking broken glass. I'm not even kidding. And her white stockings filled up with blood, like while she was on stage. And like she
Man.
didn't even fucking notice. She just kept twerking. I was like blown away. I was like losing my fucking mind watching it. Like, what the fuck? It was like an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Like it was like it's like watching Hereditary. It's just like what the fuck is going on? Like her stockings were literally just filling up with blood, and she just like kept dancing this whatever bullshit she was, and then like couldn't perform her last two shows because she was just too fucked up.
Damn.
Yeah, that was nuts. I mean, she was super sweet and like,
Hell yeah.
she was really cool. But yeah, I'll never, I mean, I mean, I've definitely been there though. Percocet is beautiful sometimes.
Yeah. How is it like when the like features I guess come to the club? Because I know like say like Stormy Daniels, she was going around like clubs like
Oh
all
yeah.
like how is it? How is it the nights when like those people are working?
Stormy Daniels literally just like comes into Rick's in New Orleans. She has a house out here and she just comes in like all the time.
Oh
And like
shit,
sometimes
nice.
they'll buy it. Yeah. The first time I saw her, I was on stage and I was like, oh my God, hello, queen of everything right now. I was like right around the time too where she like I mean, I kind of hate like outing a John no matter what, just out of principle.
Yeah.
But that was a good one, I think.
Yeah.
That was a funny one. But yeah, when they come, like it just depends on the vibe. Like Alexis Texas, like I always like being in, you know who Alexis Texas is, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I always like being in her features because I know that the people that are coming out to see her like white girls with big asses.
Oh, okay.
So it like is dope because I can just kind of,
You're just riding them
ride them.
coattails.
Exactly. Oh, always. Like the least amount of effort if I can help it.
Goddamn right.
Um, you know what I mean? But
Fuck
it's just
yeah.
nice to know because if they come for like, I mean, if they come for like Gianna Michaels, I did really well when she came to. But like when Bonnie Rodden, who is one of my favorite, I've always loved Bonnie Rodden. Like
Yeah.
Bonnie Rodden is a fucking boss, dude.
She's a
And
champ.
she, yeah,
So tatted up. That fucking
so
spider
fucking
web.
the spider webs, dude. When I
Yeah.
first saw that, oh my God, I was like in love. And like all her videos are solid. She had a kid, had the baby, and is like still chill as fuck. I'm a big, big Bonnie Rotten fan. There was actually when she came to Hustler, there was like a group of girls that were from LSU that saved up all their fucking money and bought an hour-long private room with Bonnie Rodden to ask her
Wow.
questions about like squirting and coming and like how to fuck and shit like that.
That's amazing.
It was awesome. I was next to them, like with a fucking dude who was not like into talking about any of that. And the like walls are open. And so it was like, I just remember it being super annoying to him because they had no idea. Like, they were like, they just turned 21 years old. Actually, they might have been younger.
He's getting an inside look at this. Like this is like
That's what I'm
insider
saying, dude.
information. Like
Yeah, just shut up and sit back and yeah. And I never forget it was like five girls that bought this like $2,000 or $3,000 room with Bonnie Rotten, and it was just to ask them questions. And then when I was coming out of the room, Bonnie Rotten was coming out, and I was like, "Oh my God, I love you so much," and she licked my tit because my tits were out.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's a good moment for
Amazing.
me. That's one of my favorites. Also, Gianna Michaels when she was, I saw her in Baltimore and Hustler, and when she was at Hustler in New Orleans, man, her fucking performance, like she shoved a dildo so far down her throat and then like opened, like she was like on her knees and just like opened her arms and like looked to the sky and you could see like the veins of this fucking dildo through her throat. Like it was the
Wow.
most, like the craziest shit. And so you were just on the second floor, like, what the fuck, dude? Like how, like a fucking sword swallower. It was like nuts.
Amazing. Like she's
Yeah.
for sure like one of my
She's a fucking
favorites.
professional. Like
I
she
emailed
stayed
her a
there.
couple months ago.
Oh, dude, you know what? Actually, that's funny. My friend Madison, like, and her, like, stayed in touch because they both
Really?
have been in like Playboy Brazil or whatever the fuck. Yeah. I'll try to talk to her and see if she can talk. Yeah, that would be a good one. That would be a really good one.
Yeah. I'm like she's
I
the
will try my
like
hardest.
I always think did you ever see Piranhas? She was in Piranhas 3D.
Oh my
You ever see the
God.
Piranhas movie?
Yeah, I think so. Wait,
Yeah,
yeah,
she's like actually like parasailing in the movie, and then basically she's topless and then gets dipped in the water,
yeah.
and then basically they eat the lower half of her body, and then she comes up and like she doesn't have a bottom half.
Oh,
She dies.
nice.
She dies pretty quick in the movie, but it's still a good cameo. Like it was amazing.
Oh, oh my God, I totally know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah,
Wow, that's nuts. I didn't even realize that.
yeah,
Yeah,
amazing.
she was fucking cool. And Alexis Texas was such a bitch, which sucked. Which is not nice to say. She was just, again, she did not come to fuck around at all.
Yeah,
Like she's a complete professional. But she didn't do any like I guess when you see people like Gianna Mikers or Bonnie Rodden, they do all this extra shit. And then Alexis Texas literally just comes out and pretty much does what I do on stage for real. Like just fucking does the stage set where she just shakes her ass and then just gets down. Like no issues whatsoever. It's pretty
see,
good.
it's
And she
all
was
about
like
it's
that
all
in
about
Baltimore, New York, everywhere.
you got to work smarter, not harder. See, she's winning.
I'm telling you, man, it's like that's been my favorite thing I've ever learned in dancing is works and everything, honestly.
Yeah.
In bartending too. Like work smarter, not harder is once you actually like like really grasp that, it's fucking freeing to like just be like, no, I'm just like not gonna work that hard.
I mean, if you could like make work easier for yourself,
hmm
why would you not like in any
Or like
situation
if
that
it
you're
doesn't impact you though, like if it doesn't impact me monetarily, right? Like if it's especially if it has to do with the restaurant. Because most of the stuff at the club, like, is like could be part of a long game of some sort. Like you can make money off of people you meet at the club at any point in time. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah, yeah.
such a possibility, especially if they like you. But like so like working that way, I don't mind working hard for that type of connection. But when it comes to like restaurants and shit, and they're like, oh, we need people so bad. Um, we have no staff, and then they're like trying to tell me shit about my fake nails. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like, okay, like so fire me, and then you won't have a bar. Like it's just not. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna
Yeah,
rise
yeah.
to this occasion of like fucking. I'm just not doing it. And then when you like meet them in the face, and you're just like, no, they're just like shocked. Like restaurant managers are the fucking worst,
These businesses think that they have so much power, but now that people are like willing to be like, "No, I don't want to do this." They're like, "Oh
yeah,
fuck, we
right.
have to do what these employees want because otherwise we don't have a business."
Yeah, I was working in a Mediterranean restaurant during COVID, and I like can't help but like get jobs, like get bartending jobs all the time. Like if I go to a bar, it seems like they're busy. I'll ask if they're hiring. I'll like innately just apply. Like I can't stop. It's like a really bad addiction of mine. I had this job and there was this one part where like there was tickets coming out of the machine and like the fucking tables were crazy and it was just this moment of chaos. And I was like, man, I could like totally handle all this shit in like 2 minutes if I just like got in the fucking zone. And then I was like, but also it's a pandemic. We needed, I also was like probably on a tramadol or something. I was like, we could also just chill. And I just refused to like do a good job. Like I just like refused to do it. And it worked out great. Like I made the same amount of money I would have. My manager didn't fucking notice. Like we left at the same time. So that's when I learned like, fuck all this shit. The pandemic
these
taught me a lot about that.
these are goals, you know.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Especially restaurants. Fuck them. Like they pay you like $3 an hour and fucking try to tell you how to live.
The thing that sucks too, like, cause one of my friends, she was working, at a restaurant during COVID, and it was like all the extra shit that you had to do. Like a lot
Hmm.
of times, like they upped like the amount of like I guess like just like cleaning, just the amount of
Right, right.
sanitizing to where it's like you normally would work a shift that's maybe like 4 or 5 hours and
Yeah,
make your money, but now that fucking shift is spread over like
right,
7 or 8 hours, and you're like,
right.
based on this, I'm not making as much money as I was. Like
Well,
this is
also too, people don't realize like a lot of restaurants were like trying to find different ways to have it like intake revenue. So a lot of people were like a part of this huge like now it's like all of a sudden a to go fucking fast food restaurant. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Where like it used to be so you have to like fit that and you literally just have to follow these chefs or these owners around while they try to figure this shit out. And you're just like there, like hoping you don't fucking catch COVID over some like hummus. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, fuck, it was like so fucking aggravating. So I think that's really when I just like, and then dancing, yeah, like dancing, I can't, I only have so much emotional shit like to give on that shift.
Yeah.
I, um, I have my own little system that everyone thinks that is like nuts, and it works for me though.
What's the system?
All right, so this sounds super fucked up, but the system is ideally like having like all my shit together, like an organized bag means a lot. I don't know what it is, but for some, and I have the power to do it. And sometimes I just don't. But when I do, it like changes the vibe, you know? I like if I buy like a bottle of wine on my way in, I have like a glass of wine while I'm getting ready, music, or if I get ready at home, uh, it's got to be a vibe. Like wherever I'm at, it's got to be good. And I
Okay.
can't fucking talk to anybody without a matching like energy. Because whenever I do, it shit just sucks like the life out of me. Like locker room talk can be very, very dangerous for
Really?
sure. And yes, 110% yes. I believe I've watched girls come in, be ready to work, and then like they fucking sit by a girl who is just like so insecure. And I actually remember this exactly happening like 2 weeks ago. So insecure, just fucking like talk like if you had any anxiety whatsoever, this bitch would trigger you. Like she had so much shit to say, but like nothing at all. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
she
yeah.
was just talking about, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Oh my God, I'm so old. Oh my God, how does my body look? Like she was just filled with this nervous energy. And I just kind of like drift away at that point because I'm like, yo, I cannot be around it. I watched my friend who was like ready to work, fucking fuck up like one piece of her eyebrow and drawing them on and was like, fuck it. And just like, threw her fucking brushes in the air and just like left. Like I really do think like that shit. And then if you're like with girls who are like hustlers and they're all upstairs and they're like setting the tone where it's like you hear girls get rooms early on when you're getting ready, like there's such a fucking vibe to it. But it's got if it's not good, then I just hide. Like I go in a corner if I have to get ready and I just
Yeah.
like try to just avoid everyone. I make people feel super awkward because I just straight up ignore them. Like even if I don't have, I just can't fucking do it.
I guess mentally preparing for I guess work, right? Like
Yeah,
like I know you mentioned like the chick like throwing off your vibe essentially. Like I'll be like at a comedy show and someone's about to go up. They might be
right.
before me or they might be after me, but they're just like, "Oh my god, bro, I don't know how I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm funny. Tell me I'm funny."
Exactly, dude.
You're
Stop.
like,
Yeah.
"Dog, you're
We can't be
funny.
doing this right
Fucking
now.
like
Yeah.
stop like
Right.
you prepared for this scenario. You were ready for
Right.
this. Fucking
And
go do
even if
what you
you
do."
haven't, like keep it to your fucking self, dude, and just like leave me the fuck out of it. Like, and I have to be even as a person, like I am trying to be so mindful of like what I say around people at work that night because like words are fucking spells. Like I really believe that. And especially in an environment like that, like You can literally like shift a whole night just by like being positive, being that one positive person there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's like, oh yeah, we could stay. Like they're probably not that bad. Like whatever the fuck. But yeah, if it's not like that's the thing. I think I realize now I have so much this I have a limited amount of emotional energy. And if I'm making enough money, I can like kind of figure some shit out, like and
Yeah.
move some stuff around internally and like be fine. But if it's like it's like you have to check your boundaries like every day, especially when you're broke, because it's like you need to be sure that you're like good with what you're planning to do, where you're at that day. You're not gonna like suck someone's dick for 500 bucks if that was not what you decided like that morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you literally like just have to talk to because you could really use 500 bucks. Like
Yeah.
you have to literally just, I think getting in the mindset for me is like really diving in and like dissecting like what I'm cool with that day and like what I can work as a side hustle. Like, do I want to go and be someone's dancer for 2 hours after this? Like, should I be selling that all night too?
Yeah.
Which isn't is like frowned upon. But yeah, so like that's I think getting in the mindset for me. And then yeah, just like doing good fucking solid makeup. But sometimes it's like that shit doesn't matter either. Like I don't really have a whole thing to that. But I go downstairs, I'll usually get a shift drink of some kind. Usually it's like well warm tequila with no
Nice.
lime or salt. Yeah. And then the bartenders get to look at me like I'm crazy. But if you order cheap shots, they'll give you more for free. It's just a fact. And
Oh,
I
that's
can
what's
drink
up.
cheap like all fucking day. I'm
Oh
like, yo,
yeah.
it's made of glass. Like we're doing good. Like
Yeah.
that's way better than what I've had. So anyway, yeah, I get down there and so I just kind of instead of like a lot of girls will like go sit and sit with everybody, you know, walk around, hit every table. I don't really do that shit. If I'm gonna be on stage soon, I will just fucking chill in the corner. I'll like stretch a little bit and I will just fucking wait to be on stage that first time and just get a feel for like who fucking wants to talk to me, who is into it. That's such a good way to tell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you just get there and you immediately sit down and girls are like, oh yeah, but this is, I'm a hustler. I make a lot of money this way. I'm like, no, I feel you. But there's also though, just like that chance I'm going to be caught in a conversation for like 20 minutes and it will have like no purpose in my life at all. Cause the dude will want to pay me because he didn't want to in the first place, or I'm not his type as it turns out. Like that shit's happened before where I've been like talking to a customer for like an hour and then all of a sudden I'm not his type and I have to fucking leave. Like I can't
Nigga.
deal with that shit. So I like to just kind of, if I'm going to be a while before I get on stage, I walk around and I literally just stand in front of tables and like pivot my ass
That's
around.
all. That's all it takes
And then I
sometimes.
just wait for like a nod or like a 3 second stare. And if they're like 30 to like 38, I pretty much got it in the bag. Anything else, though, is questionable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How important? Like how I guess when you first I guess you first like get on the floor, right? Maybe you haven't had your like first like stage dance yet.
Hmm.
How is it? I guess like feeling the vibe of the club. Like, are you like?
It's like it's once I think once you've done it for a minute, like I've been dancing since like 2013, since I was like 20, or I've been in a strip club probably since I had just turned 21, so 2012. But I was cocktail waitressing. But yeah, I feel like it's so hard to like at first to like really understand what the fuck you're looking for. And then once you've been doing it for a long time, you can, yeah, it's like reading, I think reading people in general in the service industry is like a huge skill that you gather from it. But reading the room and like what people are doing, like it's pretty cool once you like get to know what like the clues you're looking for and shit to see if someone's actually has money or not.
Yeah, because that was that was one of my questions that I didn't like have, but it's like how can you tell versus like when you're looking at somebody, you're like, how do I know whether this person is into me and gonna spend money or this person is gonna trap me in a fucking hour long conversation that leads to nothing, you know?
Well, right. So the key for me has just been to like, I refuse to be in one of those conversations again. Like
Yeah,
something's got to fucking happen beforehand. I mean, I get it. Like there have definitely been times where I've wasted time and it's led to something else in the future. Like I do believe that sometimes showing people kindness, especially in like a small club like Asheville where you have a lot of regulars,
Yeah.
can like pay off in the long run because like when they get a fat check or a stimulus check or whatever the fuck, they'll come and spend it on you. So I can dig that, but otherwise, like there's a lot of times now where I'm just like, listen, what's up? Like, what do
Yeah.
you literally like? Just tell me what you want, and we'll figure out like what we can
Yeah.
do. And like, you know what I mean? To some
Yeah.
degree, like there's like been a lot more younger kids at the club recently, which has been funny.
I mean, I feel like too. It's like everybody in the like everyone's coming out of the pandemic. We haven't seen live people in a while, and then
Right,
also naked people are like, well, let's do this.
right. Well, but it's also like, I mean, not great for COVID. I don't
Yeah.
think, because like there's I mean, I'm vaccinated. There's so many dancers that are vaccinated. Most, I think, probably a very high percentage of the dancers I work with are. But I think the sex work industry in general is just better at dealing with like disease
Yeah.
than like, you know what I mean? They're just like, fuck it, sure. Like, I want to make money and not be fucking worried about missing. And the worst thing is like, everyone's worry isn't about like dying or killing someone. It's like missing 2 weeks of work.
That's what it always is because it's like, well, if
Yeah,
we like, it's everybody has to fucking make money, and there's no like safety net at all. Like people are living paycheck to paycheck, and it's like I have to work. That's why people like risk
right.
their lives. They might be sick, but it's
Yeah,
like people risk their lives because they have to have money, and there's
right. So
zero like
fucked up.
fallback.
I know.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is fucking dope. I feel like when I started the podcast, there was like a few people that I was like, I have to have them on the podcast, and you
Right.
were for sure one of these people.
Yeah.
Uh,
I love that. I love that I like remembered too. I love that when I met you, I was at a club where like we weren't allowed to drink. So I like totally remember meeting you and
yeah,
like all the shit. It's pretty great.
it is funny.
Yeah.
That was like so. You met me like literally my first week of ever going to a strip club.
I know. I
The first time,
remember.
like literally, I went to the fucking Raleigh Men's Club on Saturday, drove to
You
Asheville
like
on
could not
Sunday.
stop. I think that's fucking awesome. It's literally my favorite like Cinderella story ever.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Literally, yeah. It's like I never really even been to I've been to a strip club once before going there, and I was like, still the idea. Like I went to Magic City recently, but it's like I feel like every time I walk into a strip club, the same vibe. I just can't stop smiling,
Hmm.
and I'm
I love
like,
that.
this place is amazing. Like this is,
Dude, I really think that they're fucking amazing. Like, there's so much talent in one room, And like, if you just give them what they want, they can just like showcase all of it for you.
yeah,
The only difficult thing is like people not doing what they're fucking supposed to, which has been honestly like not as bad recently, not as bad as I thought it would be recently.
okay.
I thought because everyone was like pent up that they would be like terrible, but
I feel like
it's
people are
good.
probably thankful to be in a club again. I think.
I mean, I think that most men are like thankful in general. Like when it comes down to it, like I've met I mean, relative to how many men I've met working at a strip club, they're like all pretty fucking nice for the most part. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
surprisingly so. I think that's probably one of the things that shocked me about sex work was they're probably not nice, but they're just nice to dancers. Like I just for some reason thought that dancers were treated like shit by men, but it's actually like they just literally like worship you, just want to see your pussy for like 2 seconds, like crazy dumb shit
yeah.
for no fucking reason. You know what I mean? And they're like dying for it. Like
Oh
the amount
yeah.
of like dying for it. And it's so confusing because I'm like, okay, what did that just do? You know what I mean? Like
It just made someone's
literally,
year.
that's nuts. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm thankful for it. I appreciate it, but yeah, I guess so.
How was so we met in Nashville.
Mhm.
How do you like working at the Treasure Club?
Oh man, I fucking love that club. That club taught me a lot, actually.
Really?
Yeah, my favorite thing about that club for sure was a bouncer named B. Me and him got super, super close. And I fucking loved all their bouncers because that's the one club where like the bouncers look like they fucking should.
Yo, these dudes are fucking ready. Those
They're fucking ready. Like, man, they would, and it was just like golden because like the owner was fucked. Like he was kind of he's actually a pretty good guy. He's just one of those like weird redneck guys who like tries to seem like a piece of shit.
okay.
You know, I don't know. He wasn't that great. But anyway, all of them. It's just such a weird crew and such a weird setup. And like, I had just come off of like dancing in New Orleans and New York and Baltimore and DC. So it was like the most fun to just like have a fucking like wooden, broken down fucking cigarette area. And like, they couldn't renovate the club because they like North Carolina wants all the strip clubs to just close down. So like, they literally couldn't fix it up. So
Damn.
it was just like dated and fucking about to fall over, and it was pretty magical really. That year, you know, and they did all my taxes for me and claimed all my cash mostly. That was the one year working at fucking Karate and at Treasure Club. I made like $110,000 that year. And
Fuck
that wasn't
yeah.
even counting my stage tips.
Really?
That's the
That's
most money
amazing.
I've ever made in my entire life. I mean, no, that I've seen on paper. I've probably made that before, but that one was surprising just because it was Treasure Club. Like I made fucking money there, dude. I made friends with the drug dealers that came
Yeah.
in, so they would throw crazy money on me because they knew I wasn't like a fucking snitch. There also were like a lot of young girls that were dancing there that were like so brand fucking new, like so brand new. It was so easy to work around them. Because like if a guy asked to like touch their tit, they'd be like shocked and appalled.
Yeah.
And if a guy asked to touch mine, I'd be like, I mean, yeah, you just have to like tip me like $10. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it
Yeah.
was just so easy because they would like literally flip out and try to get this dude kicked out for just
Really?
yeah, like they had no yeah, they were like so into being these prude dancers that got away without doing shit. And they make fucking money. Like they're hot as shit. They're just young as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm sure you
I'm,
remember some of them, really.
yeah, I mean, I remember, I mean, I love the club. Like that's still like
Yeah.
when I think like my like a strip club that I'm like I want to go there.
Oh yeah,
It's the Treasure Club in Asheville. Like
for sure.
last time I was there, I guess it was like closed last time I was like in the mountains, and I was like, oh man, that fucking sucks, you know.
Hmm.
But it's also amazing that like Asheville is like a good like like a good place to dance, you know, because you wouldn't think Asheville, North Carolina, you wouldn't think that, but
You know, I wish that I'm pretty good now at like selling like private party time to like bachelors and bachelor parties and shit like that. And I really wish I would have like used that skill when I lived in Nashville because I would have cleaned the fuck up. Because there's so many dudes that come, like so many guy fests that come that are like going to a brewery or fucking drinking beer or whatever the fuck, like something stupid. But
so many like boys' weekends, you
so
know.
many boys' weekends there where they like their wives are like, oh, it'll be fine because there are no strip clubs. And then they're like, haha,
There's
we
the old
found
TC.
one. Yeah. I really do think that that's like what it is, even though there have been more women in the club recently than ever before.
Really?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, than ever, ever, ever before.
How do men and women like I guess I saw this thing on Twitter recently where this girl was talking about like in terms of like boundaries for men and women clients. Like she was saying like women not necessarily getting boundaries or maybe like not caring about it
Yeah.
versus men. Like I remember I went to like one of my friends, we went to a strip club together and she was real fucked up and she's trying to hug the dancers. She's just like
Right.
groping them. She at one point like runs back in the dressing room. I mean, she was kind of fucked up, but
Yeah.
still just like the boundaries were not there at all. How's it women and male, like men clients for you?
I think that it depends on like the night and like if I'm because some nights like on my third or fourth night dancing in a week, like I'm just like I'm still in it. I'm probably actually the most in it, just like not, I can't deal with a whole lot.
Okay.
Or I'll drink, you know what I mean? If I drink too much, then I just get, I'm very cautious of myself when it comes to like, feeling like I'm at my wit's end with people. Because yeah, women really do like, they can have this habit. Not only have they always been more touchy, always, like they literally could give a fuck. I have very rarely met a female that has not touched me without asking in a strip club. Even the nicest fucking ones are like, they just, I did a room with a couple the other day and she was like, come on, do the sluttiest thing you've ever done. And I was like, I'm making like $150. Like, that's a really
Yeah,
big
that's a
ask.
big ask for
The
that.
sluttiest thing I've ever done. I just looked at her, I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, I don't think I could really like recreate that in here. Like,
Yeah, she's
what do
like,
you even
what do
mean?
you think the sluttiest thing that I've ever done is?
Exactly right.
You tell
And
me.
yeah, and she was just like, he was he was just fucking, that's, guys also can be really weird with their wives. Like, I try to always talk to the wife. I love like really country little couples with their fucking like hand grenade cups and like all their touristy shit. They just come in and want like $100 worth of a dance and they just go home or go to their hotel room and like fuck the shit out of each other. Or like the Days Inn or wherever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're not like rolling in it, but they just literally know they have 4 days away from their fucking 8 kids or whatever. And so they're gonna go fuck thinking about a stripper or something. Like, that's the ideal couple for me. A lot of times you get couples though that are like, the females feel like they've got to like be extra extra cool with all the shit even though they aren't. So then by the
Yeah.
time when they get drunk, it like true colors show and they're pissed, or they're just so fucked up the entire time, like, or they fucking hate it there. And then that's the bitches where I'm like, why the fuck are you here, dude? Like, just go home, Like,
Because it's not like you don't know what the like. I guess maybe if you've never been to a strip club before, and perhaps you've never seen your
girls
significant
trips
other,
are
like,
great. Sorry, not to interrupt you, but I just, that was a point. Like, girls, like, all female trips are fucking great every single time. It's literally when females are with men and they feel like they need to like show off.
okay.
And that's what I've seen mostly anyway. And that's where it's like I literally told this woman the other day to like keep her $4 fucking.
That's the thing too. It's like people think like, oh
Like,
man, let
fuck
me throw a
y'all.
couple dollars. Like,
Dude,
what am I about to do for literally $5 or
it
like
was literally
any?
like one of my best stage sets of all time. Like, it was so much money on this fucking stage. And I was like, couldn't even barely move because it was like packed up. And this fucking bitch in like an LSU polo, she's like 65. Her name's probably fucking Patricia, really. And she's screaming like, "Come over here! Like, we need you to do more. We need you," like, screaming this shit at me. And it was like juvenile, back that ass up. Like, it was a good vibe. And then you just hear this like screeching, shrill fucking voice over the music, and I was like, "Listen, chill the fuck out. Like, keep your fucking money. I don't need it. I'm literally just like piling up money. You have $4 in your
Yeah.
fucking hand, dude. Fuck y'all. I don't need it." And she went and like complained to the manager, and I was like, I'm not. She was fucking screaming at me, dude. Like, and yeah. I mean, most of the time they expect a lot more. There's sometimes like groups of women will come in, like they did with that Bonnie Rodden thing I told you about, and or they'll come in, like they'll ask me, like they'll take me for a private dance and just like ask me how to twerk or dance or whatever.
Okay.
Like, that shit's kind of fun. But most of the time, even when they're the coolest they could possibly be, they somehow are like insulting without meaning to be. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Like, there's
Yeah.
always something that's like no one ever actually gets it unless you find the fucking like fucking gem of situations and you find a stripper in the strip club as a customer who's being paid to be like arm candy for some dude from like Miami or something.
Oh shit.
That bitch will hook you the fuck up. Like, you will be hooked the fuck up. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
room, champagne, drinks. Like, there's no questions for that bitch. Like, she runs the show. So she's very, very cool. Like, she'll like fake. I remember there was one girl who was like fake eating my pussy and shit because her guy like really wanted us to eat each other out. She was like, "No, I got you." She like tossed her hair, like she did all this shit. But I was like, "Damn." Like she wasn't. She maybe was making money off of it, but I knew I was making like $1,200
Yeah.
off this bitch like fake eating my pussy for like 15 minutes before he just like ended up leaving. And then
That's
me and her
that's
just
that's
like
that's fucking amazing.
sat there and drank champagne. I know that's the best scenario too. But yeah, no, women, I think when they come in with men, they try to impress them, and or like I've seen a lot of women try to work crowds of men recently, which has been kind of hilarious.
Like, what do you mean?
Like sitting with customers, like girls, like women that will come in and they'll sit with tables and try to get them to buy drinks and sit with like VIP tables and shit like that.
And they don't even work there.
They don't work there, right? That shit is
What
twisted. And that
are
shit
they?
is fucking risky also.
I mean, are they just trying to pick people up, like kind of like
They're trying to
like
probably, I
escorting
think
kind of thing?
they're trying to make money, like get their drink spot, like whatever their,
Oh, okay.
yeah, intention is, I'm not sure. But yeah, no, like they'll sit and I mean, I'm sure they think they can make money off. I mean, they're always like dressed in, like bullshit designer clothing and stuff like that. But yeah, like I've seen girls try to, there was two girls that came in like dressed up like straight stripper wear and shoes, didn't fucking work there. And just like walked around in a circle. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Can you do
And then
that?
they just like walked out.
Can
No,
you wear
yeah.
like fucking pleasers and shit and like wear like
Dude,
dress?
yeah, like Steve Madden's making them now. Like everyone's fucking wearing them now. It's
That
hilarious. Like it's so funny to watch people intake sex work and like that culture now, you know?
yeah. I feel like it's kind of like just so mainstream. Like if you take like I feel like Cardi has really put like sex work in the forefront. Just because like every sex worker I know loves Cardi. I remember you mentioned to me about Cardi. But
Hmm.
I never heard a single Cardi B song at all.
Yeah.
You
She
know?
you know what it was? It was just like her ease of talking about it. Because like I don't know if you remember that stripper that was dancing. It was in Atlanta. She fell from like this tall ass pole and her had to get
Oh
her jaw
shit.
rewired and shit. She
Yeah.
was like on Wendy Williams and she ended up like Wendy Williams. I fucking hate Wendy Williams, but whatever. She's a fucking cunt in my book. But she was asking this woman questions like an idiot, like not asking her like about being a stripper, just asking her pretty much what are your plans to get out of it? What
Jesus.
do you typically make and like when are you leaving it? And this woman like had that answer of like, yeah, I plan on leaving dancing, and like the whole crowd just rejoices and everyone's clapping. And I remember watching that like, bitch, you're like 22 years old. Like you broke your jaw. Chill the fuck out. That seems like an overreaction to me, but then she gets this huge applause. And the thing I love and I'll never forget about Cardi B is like watching her on like Ellen DeGeneres, like daytime television. And Ellen DeGeneres just being like, did you like being a stripper? And her just being like, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there
yeah.
was no like she was like, yeah, I mean, I like paid off my student debt, I got my mom a house. Like she just was so like nonchalant about it that it wasn't even an issue. You know what I mean? Because I didn't watch Love and Hip Hop and shit with her.
I mean, I feel like when you frame it in like a positive light, that just changes the entire narrative because everybody's like,
Right?
"Oh, what happened? What happened to you to make
Yeah.
you do this? Why would you
Right.
ever do something like this?" Like it's like, but when you're
Right.
like, "I like doing this. This is cool. Like this is a job."
Right.
Like then people are like, "Oh, oh, okay." I never thought of it like I'm like
No, I know.
I was fucking dumb coming into the treasure club, I was dumb.
Wow, yeah, but you were like, you weren't mean. Like your intentions were good. You were just didn't understand. You were just brand new at it.
Yeah. But I feel like until you
Intentions
talk to
have a lot.
somebody,
Because
okay.
like a lot of people don't know a whole lot about strip clubs. So I feel like the intention behind a question is like has a lot carries a lot of weight on it. You know what I mean? Or like the intention behind like curiosity,
Yeah.
Like you just don't fucking know instead of trying to like capitalize off of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were pretty brand new about it.
I was so fucking brand new. I mean,
Yeah.
I had no I like
Yeah.
God. Even when I think about like just assumptions that I like even just like being in a relationship with somebody,
Oh yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Like what? You can be in a
I
relation
re
like
I remember the second time I saw you and you were pretty wasted and I was like not. It was like on a Sunday or something. And we were on the smoke jack, and you were like, all my friends say that you're lying to me, and like you don't actually think I'm cool. And I'm like, I totally get that. Like you're like so pissed. And I was like, listen, but I get it. Like you have good friends. That is like a solid thing to say.
Yeah.
But I was like, but I promise you, I actually like enjoy talking to you. I would not
Yeah.
like like trying to convince you of it. But I mean, I've been in that position before where guys just think I'm like they cannot like some guys are so sad, like they cannot trust sex workers, like they cannot give themselves an inch or they will
Yeah.
like run with it. So they're so closed off.
I mean, I feel like it's easy. Like I've said this before. I feel like like being like having a broken heart and going to the strip club. I feel like it's a recipe for love.
Hmm.
And you gotta like keep your mind straight.
Right. Well, but you
Things.
can do that without like killing the fucking mood. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
that's what I hate.
that's for fucking sure.
Right. Like get what you want, get what you need out of it, but don't be like, oh, I know you just are like gonna go home after this. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Like
yeah. Like
it's
what? You know what I mean?
what else would I?
I
What
want
else
to
was
go
I supposed to
home.
do?
Yeah, like, I don't, I don't get it. So, yeah, I mean, men are just like, I don't know. I've been trying to like give men more of a pass lately because I feel like y'all were told like you couldn't share your feelings and shit for a long time. So
Yeah.
we fucked all of you up. But then whenever y'all start to share your feelings, I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
shut
We're
the
like,
fuck up.
there's a reason why we told them not to say anything because they're so
Yeah.
fucking stupid.
It's just like the things you have to complain about. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That's funny. But yeah. So I try to give them a pass because I feel like they're just y'all, you know.
You just like don't know it. Like if your view is of like strip clubs or sex workers, is like the media or like television, then your view is completely wrong. You just don't know it,
Exactly, yeah.
until you
And
have
people
those
don't get it.
experiences.
Right. I no, I totally agree with that. I mean, I
Yeah.
think a lot of like new girls that have started because like this new generation of females in this industry that I've noticed is like very fucking riding this like emotional self-care fucking train. You know what I mean? Like
Okay. Yeah.
they all use the word empath. They all like talk about their feelings all the fucking time. They all like say when they're nervous. And I like think back to when I was 21, like you could not have paid me to admit I was nervous. Like I would
Yeah.
have like rather fucking died. So like watching them like come into this industry and like deal with men and then watching men like now the new cool thing is to be like really nice to women and not be a dick. You know what I mean? Like
The new
that's the
cool thing
new
the new cool
trend
thing is being
is
nice.
like yeah, like the Me Too movement made like boys who are like 21, 22, 23 guys like be really overly nice. And then sometimes you can see like the bubbling like fucking like terrible shit and it's like it's funny dealing with people all day. It's hilarious like dissecting all of it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like men are just constantly sad.
Yeah.
So I just feel bad for them.
It's the end of the night is just so fleeting. It's the most it's
Yeah. There was one guy, man, he was so fucking creepy the other week. Like so intense and like was asking these really pointed questions. Like I eventually was like, "You're a fucking cop. I'm leaving." Because that's really what it seemed like. Like this dude had the weirdest questions, the weirdest stare, and that shit's weird. Like when you get weird fucking vibes from somebody
yeah.
that are like danger, fucking shit goes off in your head. That shit's nuts. To like try to operate through that in like 8-inch heels, working the floor, like keeping your shit together, not freaking out.
I think that's one of the things that, like, as someone who's like, as a patron in the strip club, right? You're not thinking of it like your thoughts are probably pretty singular, like
Oh, for sure, yeah.
you're not thinking of a lot of different shit or a lot of different scenarios that could be happening. But it's like you working. I feel like you're thinking of 1,000 things at once.
Hmm. For sure. And like it's also just like keeping your composure, but also like knowing when you need to like take a break, like knowing like respecting when something shitty happens and being like, okay, like I need a minute. That sucks. Because I
Yeah,
think when you first start, you like can get in these situations where guys will like, it just depends on you too, like as a person, just like what fucks you up. But sometimes men can really, really fuck with you. Like I said, relative to the number, like per capita, pretty nice guys. But the mean ones are like, you have to just have like the thickest skin to where they literally can't like fucking tell you shit.
Yeah.
Because some dudes will say some dumb shit, and you just have to get to the point where like you don't need their approval, you just need their money, and you need to be able to see the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where you should go with it.
Does it ever feel like, like where you mentioned like approval versus money, was it ever hard separating that to where it's like I know what the goal is, but in order to get this goal, I have to do things like, I guess not like maybe like boundary wise, but it's like I have to put up with this amount of
Hmm.
whatever this person's putting off, and like knowing like what the goal is versus, I guess, having to intake that energy maybe.
Right. No, for sure. Like I think that that was really the first couple years of me dancing. Like I think I traveled way too early in my dancing career, took on way more than I was prepared for. Put myself in like crazy situations. I was not fucking like some pro ho type shit that I was just like not ready for at the fuck all. But yeah, and I think if you don't like therapy helped me a lot with that. But yeah, if you don't stay, that's why it's like reassessing your boundaries like every day, sometimes every fucking minute. Because like sometimes you can get an offer that's like meh, like
Yeah.
it can kind of shift where you're at. You know what I mean? By like
Yeah, yeah.
a certain person, and you try to be as safe as possible. But yeah, I think like you have to just really understand yourself because when you don't, like when you use the club to like as your validation, as your self-esteem, which I think a lot of young girls kind of do, when it gets slow, when no one comes in, like that's your whole self-esteem is just that. So when it
Yeah.
doesn't go your way, like your whole being is like contingent on this fucking like, bullshit like fantasy club experience. Like you've got to be able to separate it. And it took me a long fucking time. Some women can just go into the business and be like, doesn't even fucking matter. Or they can just be like really self aware about when it does matter and they just take the night off. But I think it's like the girls who, like are like, quote unquote tough and like independent. You try to like fucking push through all these like shitty interactions sometimes and it weighs on you. And then you end up making things like decisions you wouldn't necessarily want to make. Like
Yeah.
it's so important to fucking like figure out what's up. Because when I was a new dancer, I fucking like definitely had situations that I was like not fucking ready for and just like dove into them like a fucking idiot. Because I wasn't like, it was just for the thrill of it.
Okay. How is it like? Do you have other people like when you're like when you're starting out? Do you have like people that are like helping you dancing, helping you navigate that area at all, or is it like you on your own figuring it out yourself?
I mean, I think for me, like I started dancing, I guess it was like eight years ago. Or I guess in a strip club 8 years ago, dancing probably 6 or 7. I mean, I guess, yeah, because it's like, the joke about cocktail waitresses, like 2 weeks and then you're a stripper.
Yeah, yeah.
But it took me like a year and then I like managed a restaurant and then just like decided I wanted to be a fucking stripper randomly.
When you first started like doing the cocktail waitressing, were you ever like, I think I could be a stripper? Or was it like, I'm just working
No,
here?
no, 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 no. I was like literally my worst nightmare. Like everything I complain about, I was totally that. I mean, I was
Oh
a
shit.
cocktail waitress, mind you, but at least for like the first couple weeks. And then when I left the club, because I got in a fight one night. It was totally my fault. I got my ass kicked. And then got fucking arrested and brought to the drunk tank after. It was like a terrible fucking night.
Damn.
And after that, I was just like so fucking nervous and just like again, I was just like mouthing off at like a bar I didn't know the fuck. Yeah, I just thought I was just like a cocky piece of shit when I was 20. I guess we all were when I'm 21.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that happened. Then I quit the club. Then I went to restaurants, and then I started managing. And that's when I realized that like no one actually gives a fuck about anyone who works in a restaurant, and everything sucks, and like nothing matters in that like
Yeah.
environment. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go be a stripper. And I literally just like borrowed some shoes. I knew a girl. To answer your question, I did have like solid help. I had a girl who's like pretty fucking good. She was like a pretty good hustler. She was a friend of Nick's, my partner's. They had been friends for like ever. She was like very intelligent. So she was a cool person to like have at first. Now, when I moved to, so I would just make money, whatever. Like new money for me was really good actually. And I moved to Baltimore, and there was like, I'd never forget, I was on stage for my audition, and they had like two poles on this huge stage. And there was just like a table of like the baddest black women I'd ever seen in my entire life. Like all of them were just head to toe, like perfect. And I got off stage, and the manager's like, "Yeah, you're hired." And this one woman from Morocco came up to me and was like, "Listen, if you're gonna have like a bigger ass than all of us, like you have to at least know how to fucking move it." Like that was just like fucking clown me so hard on my stage set. And like they literally would just like random times, like if I'd be doing a lap dance next to them, they'd be like, "Okay, look, try to do this." Like they were just like very involved in like my upbringing as a dancer. And I try to do the same thing for new dancers without stepping on anyone's toes or getting too involved to where like I'm invested. Like
Okay, yeah.
I try to help out, as much as I can for girls that I think will understand what I mean.
Yeah, I feel like it's one thing to be like, I think that this person might be receptive to what I have to say, and I think it's like a positive thing versus like going to somebody and like forcing, like, hey, you should do this way because this is how I do it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like it worked, the shit worked out for me in a really good way because they were like very strong personalities and they were very, very good at what they did. These five women that just kind of like, we never really worked together or anything, but they would just kind of look out for me and like show me shit or like how to do stuff or what to say or like check on me. So, and I definitely feel like a lot of the women who are older now, like I think from what I've seen, we make a point to like do that for younger dancers. At least I
Okay.
do. That's like a really fulfilling part of the job. Yeah.
Is there a so before you start dancing, like, or actually when you start dancing, do you have like a background in dance? Like, do you know
No.
what you're do you know what you're doing, or are you like just like freestyling it?
Yo, there's a lot of ballerinas and a lot of cheerleaders that are strippers. Like
Okay,
a lot. So a lot of women do have a background in dance or in like gymnastics. That's pretty common. I didn't fucking dance ever, like ever, ever, ever. I would
damn,
rather die. Yeah. I mean, I still probably won't, like in a bar or a club. I mean, I might, but like, I don't know. I get it. I feel it when I'm like at work, but otherwise I don't know. I don't really fuck with it. You know what I mean? Like if I go to a concert, like I'm not gonna just fucking bend over and start twerking and shit. And like,
yeah.
it's just like not my common,
The
like
twerking
not
doesn't
what I think to do.
overcome you.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. If I'm at work, it would, but
Yeah.
otherwise, no. I'm just like I refuse.
Do you have a line, right? Do you have a line that can make somebody get a dance? Is there a line?
I think there definitely is a line. Um, I think responses are, like comedic timing is definitely helpful.
Yeah.
I think persistence is really fucking like more helpful than any of us want to admit because we're like too prideful.
Okay.
But um,
You can really wear some. You can really wear somebody to.
dude,
You
yeah.
can wear some. I got worn down at the fucking Raleigh Men's Club. I went on Valentine's Day with my roommate. It's so funny when I was living like in North Carolina, right? My roommate like then is actually my roommate now in Atlanta. Like he moved down to
Hmm.
Atlanta.
Oh,
So it's
cool.
like he knows exactly who you are, right?
Oh, nice.
And so I took him to. We went to the Raleigh Men's Club on like Valentine's Day one year, and this one girl, she just kept, persist like, "Hey, you want to
Yeah.
date? You want to date?" I was like, "Okay, bro, I got to take one for the team. I got to get a date like that." It works. It
Yeah,
works.
it really does work. It's just like you have to like really, again, like have no pride. Like you have to just be like, I don't give a fuck if I'm like embarrassing myself. I'm gonna keep going up to the same fucking table and just over and over and over again. And I feel like that sometimes can be a big ask for me. But whenever I'm like kind of tipsy or drunk, it really does work most of the time. But as far as like a line, like I feel like responses to a no or like faces, like it's like a bachelor party. I'm like, y'all don't want to buy him a dance, especially if you like tip me on
Oh
stage or
yeah,
something. And they'll be like, no. And I'm like, really? Just that, like, for real? I'm like, that's crazy.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I really thought they were gonna buy one. Like, you know what I mean? And just making the situation like awkward,
yeah.
like making them feel weird about not. Like, what the fuck are you doing here then? But whatever. Um, but yeah, I feel like most of the time, like good eye contact and just like no bullshit is what sells me the most dances.
Okay,
Like if they're like, "What's your name?" I'm like, "Who cares?" Love that line.
yeah.
It definitely sets the tone of like nothing fucking matters in here, dude.
I still remember like being outside, like on the like smoking patio or whatever, and this dude asked this girl what her name is. I think she said like Maddie,
Hmm.
and he's like, "Is that with like an IE or a Y?" And she's like, "It's however you want to spell it. Really, that's
Hmm.
like
Yeah, it
it does
really
not
like it
matter."
does not matter at all. However the fuck you want to spell it is totally fine with me. Can I dance on your cock now? And normally they're like, "Oh yeah, sure." You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
slapping them in the face with it sometimes can really be helpful.
yeah.
But I don't know. I think that yeah, it just like depends on what you can work the best and like what attitude you're at. And there's definitely lines though. I just try to respond to their bullshit individually without getting too like, you want to dance, you want to dance, you want to dance, like without getting too robotic about it, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like too, like once you interact with like you've been dancing for a while, you've been interacting with people in that like space for such a long time. I feel like the range of how people behave or how people talk. I feel like you kind of have probably experienced most interactions, or you kind of know how it's going to go, like
Right.
just from experience, just because you've done it for so long. You
Yeah.
kind of know what's going to work in a certain situation or what's not going to work just from fucking practice.
Yeah. Just practice. And also just like not like leaning into being kind of awkward. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
me, like guys love hearing that I'm stoned of all
Oh,
ages.
yeah.
Like if I'm just like, oh my bad, I'm just like super fucking high right now.
They're like,
Like
oh my
all of
god,
them,
she's so fucking
she's so
cool.
edgy, she's so fucking cool, right? And then, or if it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just like super fucked up right now. Just like anything that's just like no shame,
Say
just
something
like,
vulnerable.
yeah, exactly. And then I'm like, man, I feel I've been doing this a while, but I'm still like bad at this part. Like just like being like awkward and kind of like making them a part of like how I figure out the situation. Like men love to be needed, you know?
Yeah.
So I try to like use them to like help me figure out like what's up with you and like how I can feel comfortable because I'm just gonna lean into all the awkward shit I'm doing, like jokes or like, stupid like I do dumb shit all the time. It just seems like in my head I'm like, why the fuck did you just say that, do that, whatever. You know what I mean? Like shit happens and I'm like, fuck. And then I'm like, man, that was like I just say exactly what's in my head about the moment. And that
Yeah.
usually works out pretty well because it like makes them like engaged. It makes them like want to be a part of like making the environment chill and like everyone being comfortable. So it's like a cute little like group activity.
Yeah. And you're
Just like
creating.
being awkward as fuck and just seeing how they react.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it can do a lot for like me liking talking to somebody if
Yeah.
if they can like chill and like not be fucking aggravating or on one all the time. That's like that can do a lot for you, I feel like, as a strip club patron.
I feel like if you could just be cool,
Right.
just be cool. You know?
Just be cool. Yeah.
I
Don't
guess
wear
some
gym shorts.
definitely. Yeah. I'm a
Corduroy. Yeah.
corduroys. Yeah.
Hmm.
Always.
It's like so hot.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. But yeah, no gym shorts, tip well.
Yeah. It's funny, like I remember also it's funny like the shit you remember, like when you talk to somebody. And so I remember you mentioning like basically you're like, there's this thing called the hoarchy or whorearchy. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know how like exactly what you said, but you're like it's like basically, sex workers like looking down at other sex workers that work differently than
Hmm.
they do, or perhaps do more than they do.
Yeah,
And I remembered that, right? But I didn't really, think of it much more than that. But then once I started doing the podcast or interacting with more people, or like once I got Twitter, you really
right.
see it,
You can
and you're
see
like,
it.
holy
Yeah,
shit, it's a fucking real thing.
it's a real
Uh,
thing for sure.
how do you feel about that? Like, has that affected you at all? Why do you think it's there in the first place?
Oh man, I mean, I think it's there because it's been such a shamed, like being a sex worker is such a shamed position to be in at any point. Like that's why you see all these TikToks where like bitches have to show like them holding a fucking huge stack of ones as a phone, or like like we have to reason our job with like making obscene amounts of money, or people like don't get it, and it like
Yeah,
makes us question like how good we are at it. Like it's such a bad job that you need like you have to make so much money. And I kind of hate that because I'm like, see, that's bullshit though. Because like you do make good money, sure. You're working very, very hard. Like I'm pretty sure most times it like evens the fuck out with the amount of work you're putting in. But sometimes you don't make like 1,200, 1,500, $1,800, and you don't make it every fucking night anywhere. Like whenever a bitch opens with that, I'm like, you are fucking toxic in this room right now. Whenever I hear, oh, I went to so and so and I made $200,000 a night every night, don't fucking talk to me.
yeah,
Absolutely not. Because even if you were there for like a 3-day weekend, you made 2 grand every night. Okay, I get it. You average 6 grand a week. Like there's a fucking difference. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so new girls hear this shit, and so then they start to think like, oh fuck, um, everyone already like hates me anyway, and if I'm not making 1,200, 1,500, $1,800 a night, like these other girls are saying they are, then I'm shit at this. I'm not sexy, and then like it gets so much easier to fit into that stereotype of like the fucked up stripper who's wasted or who's on, you know what I mean? Like it's so
yeah,
much, it's like all one big fucking circle. But I think like religion has a lot to do with it. I think a lot of Catholic women are dancers. A lot of women who like have some sort of faith in something or uh, dancers. Like it doesn't, which surprised me. I would think it wouldn't kind of go hand in hand with sex work. But I think that does a big deal of it. Like you're doing, like you're dancing on guys, but you're not doing this. Like you're allowed to have whatever boundaries you fucking want. The
yeah,
issue for me is like when you shame other women for working differently or doing more, and you don't realize how that's not the same as like, or that it's the same as like a lawyer female talking down on strippers, just in general. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, we already have so much of that shit. We're like barely getting through it right now. It really pisses me off to hear it. I try to handle it. Me and a lot of like older dancers recognize it, try to handle it with grace. But especially when they start talking shit about prostitutes as a whole, that's when I like really fucking lose it. Because I feel like it's such a privileged, and not even privilege in that like I know there are some prostitutes that literally had no other option, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just what they had to do to make money. They didn't necessarily want to do it, and they had to cross their boundaries in order to make this cash. So for you to be like this 22-year-old white girl, and it's always only from white women also. Only only white women, 110% young white women. And so when I hear that, I'm like, wow, how privileged. Like you'd never have had to like fucking write a whole new set of boundaries for yourself just in order to like make money to put food on the table. But there's also prostitutes that like love doing it.
Oh
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like there also is just like people like I feel like you have to fit in this category of like being super sad or like in this super stressed situation. Like I had money in the bank when I became a dancer. I just wanted to fucking do it. Like
yeah,
it's not always this like terrible situation. But I do think that when the terrible situations are a reality, a lot of it has to deal with like the fucking pressure that gets put and the shame that gets put on sex workers in general. So I think it's just them not knowing but good well enough. I think it's like a red flag that they might need some help later on. I think it's like something to watch because that shit is like the shit that'll get you fired or fucking arrested. Like
oh
some
yeah,
bitches are like real snitches out here, like
oh shit.
for real. Yeah. So you've got to be like really cautious with bitches like that. But yeah, it sucks. I think it's so so rampant and if and like how dare we as like we're like in this fucking brick and mortar building of like money where we just get to come and dance in a safe place with security guards and all this shit. Like, you think any of this would exist without fucking prostitutes?
No,
You know what I mean? Like, no. Like, how dare you? You wouldn't be in a safe space to be able to make money for your family in the way that you do without them.
100%.
So just shut the fuck up. None of your fucking business. You don't want to be a prostitute, go outside and don't be one.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, like this
that's about it.
heaping shame on people that do that's like, what are you doing? Like,
But I mean, people who do that though feel shamed. So I get it. Like, that's why it's kind of like I just sit back, keep my space. I don't work with them, and I just kind of make sure that they're going to be all right too. Because a lot of times when you have these like really, really strict morals, those are the girls, or like not strict morals, but like these ideas without a whole lot of experience. You know what I mean? You're like
just like
convinced
a
that
lot of
you know what's up.
idealism.
Right, exactly. That shit can fuck you up. Like, you can make some really bad decisions very quickly on that train of thought. So I think it's also just like watching out for girls too. Like, I've definitely like pulled a girl, like sat at a table with a new girl and had some guy who like you totally knew. Like, this guy, one guy in particular, totally knew the game. He was like in like a gray sweatsuit. He's from Miami, he had like gold chains. He was like 55, 56. He was just, a piece of fucking garbage. And he looked at me and he was like, he had been talking to this girl for a while. I got on stage, he tipped me, I sat with them. He looked at me, he was like, see, I still kind of like her more though, because for you, I'd have to pay you 1,000, but for her, I'd only have to pay like $400
Yeah.
and not have to wear a condom. Like, that's what he just said to me, like right when I sat down.
Damn.
And I looked at this girl and I was like, yo, come on, we should like it was like no reaction whatsoever. I was just like, I knew this girl in particular had just gotten hired. I had talked to her, but like she was not ready for this particular type of customer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, we're getting the fuck. Like, I just like literally was like, come on, let's go. So there's definitely been like situations where like I can see it's like, oh fuck, like this girl is in way over her head. And I've like saved some of the assholes that have those opinions, but and they end up usually coming around, and everybody ends up usually like coming to be like-minded eventually. But yeah, it's like a sickness in the sex industry, especially when you're new, especially
Yeah.
when you dance, because it's just like you just take it for granted. You don't even think about the origins of it, how it started, like what actually it means to be a sex worker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How is it so like I know you mentioned like some people will be talking about like, oh man, I made all this money working in such a short period of time. Like how is it does it ever comparing yourself to other people, right?
right.
Was that ever a thing for you to where it's like, is people's self-esteem connected to how they do at work, was that ever an issue for you at all?
Yeah, like I think it was like an issue in my younger life just in general that I kind of tackled at a young age because I was just like really sick of like hating women and like hearing everywhere that like girls were really mean to each other and we weren't supposed to be friends and girls were catty. Like, I got over that whole bullshit at a pretty young age to some degree. So I'm thankful for that. But so it doesn't, I don't think it happened as much. Like, I definitely know there are girls who like, you can hear it in their voice when they compare themselves to other girls and what they made. And so I think that it hasn't happened for me like as a regular thing necessarily. But it is something when it does happen, it's like an immediate red flag. Like, no matter where I'm at, like if I'm jealous of another girl on stage, I immediately am like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Because
you
that's
just
not
check
where I need to
yourself.
be at. Yeah, like, no, no, no. We need to go, or we need to like, because it's I think it's unavoidable, but you just have to be able to like really deal with it in a quick fashion.
Yeah, I feel like it's like when you recognize that, then you can be like, oh, that's what the fuck. Okay.
Right. And you just have to remember like, no, I want the best for everybody, and I want, like us all to make whatever money we're making. Because that's the other thing too, is like when girls say that they can't make money in a club because some of the dancers do full sex work, right? Like, oh, she gives hand jobs, so now I'm never gonna sell a room again. Bullshit, dude. If you offered a hand job to like a packed club, so many dudes would be freaked out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not everyone there is looking for that. Like, it's just a
Yeah.
fact. It is a fact. Like, there are so many guys, if you approach them with, like, hey, for 20, $30, I'll give you a fucking hand job in the lap dance area. And they'd be like, what? Get the fuck away from me. Like they would, it sounds crazy, but I really do think it would freak out so many men. It's a service that definitely can be taken advantage of, but it's not taken advantage of by guys that didn't know that they wanted it to begin with. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
dude already was coming in not wanting to spend money on you,
yeah.
especially if you're not going to let them like grab your ass in a dance or in a room, like take your fucking top off. Like these limits you're putting around your time have a lot to do with why you don't sell dances. It really has very little to do with the girl next to you. You know, like it's really just what people want.
I mean, also too, I feel like that's the easiest. Like, it's always easier. I feel like in a lot of situations to blame other people than rather than to be like, what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just like not dealing with like I think religion really did like fuck up the service and I mean it fucked up everything, but the sex industry for sure is like it feels a lot of that heat, you know?
Yeah,
Because you got like Mary Magdalene, like the famous fucking Christian hooker and stuff. Like it was something that's been discussed so much and voted on so much and has been like voted against for so consistent long amount of time. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to break that stigma of like nobody wants you to be able to like just fully operate and do your job as far as you want to. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's pretty unique feeling. So I think when you feel shamed is when you shame other people and then that initially like it eventually snowballs into like just manifests itself into like some nasty shit that you don't need to deal with.
yeah.
Yeah.
How was so? Little pandemic happened last year.
Hmm.
It's still got it happening.
I
Uh,
know, right?
everything fucking closed.
Hmm.
How is it getting back to work? How has that been?
I mean, I got back to work in like I think it was like April. So I've been back for a minute. Um, I got my vaccination pretty soon after I started working, and that was like a huge relief. Even though I
Yeah,
got like the Johnson and Johnson one, which I think is like the
got
least,
that
but
single
that was
shot.
yeah, I was just like fuck it, 65% perfect, let's do it. Um, but because at first it was like pretty weird because you would like wear masks, but you couldn't fucking breathe, so you wear those like fake like chain masks with like all the holes, like it's just a net,
Oh yeah,
you know, and so it was like you were susceptible to all this. That's why I was like, fuck, I need to fucking do this. And I think a lot of girls when they first got back were like, oh shit, like we were really close to people pretty early on this year before vaccinations were even really like fully distributed. So the money was great at first. I think now it's kind of just evening out. And it's just, I think that New Orleans in particular will be really busy in the fall.
okay,
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, it's just consistent money, It's like, it's just, it is what it is. The summer really hasn't been terrible, but it really is like riding a bike, You think you're gonna forget all this shit, how to walk in
yeah,
heels, how to twerk, how to do whatever, and it's like nothing. Like getting back on stage after a while is like, for me anyway, it's always just been like easy as fuck.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was there ever? Do you ever get like? I don't know if you ever go like long stretches where you don't dance and then like you get back into it. Do you ever have anxiety going up?
I always have anxiety auditioning. Always, always. That
Okay,
Sapphire New York experience really fucks me up. That shit sucks. So anytime I audition, I'm like fucking nervous as shit.
yeah,
Anxious about going up. Like if it kind of just depends on like where my energy level is at. It depends on the music. Like that's another thing I loved about Treasure Club was I could pick my own music.
yeah,
So I could play like J. Cole and I could play songs that like made me chill the fuck out
yeah,
because I can get like pretty anxious. But I mean, for the most part, like once I start dancing and like I work with the same DJs that I've worked with for a long time, like it's pretty much, a well-oiled machine at this point. Like I
oh yeah,
know how it all works, but there definitely have been times, anytime I audition, any single time, fucking nervous wreck, like nervous as fuck.
yeah,
But it can be nerve-wracking when like the room is full and there's some girl before you got like a lot of fucking stage tips, but does a lot of pole tricks, and I don't do any. So it's like figuring out if that's what they liked or if they just wanted to be entertained and like it's like it can be pretty nerve-wracking, but you got to figure it out. I mean, you got to just stretch, breathe, and like go up there and fucking do it. Like you
Yeah,
have to.
yeah.
It's the easiest way to make money, in my opinion. I love being on stage. I think it's fucking great.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
it's my favorite thing.
How long do you see yourself dancing?
Um, I don't know, man. Until I guess I just stop. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna use. I mean, I like have goals in school. It's just like a tool that you can use. I mean, as long as I can do it, I probably will utilize it to some degree.
Yeah.
Try to.
5 years from now, what are you doing? Where are you at?
I hate this question. Um, 5 years from now, hopefully, I will be what, 35? Ugh, Jesus. Hopefully, I'm still like fun. I haven't gotten too wrapped up in something stupid. But hopefully, I'll have like a college degree by that point. I'll be in whatever grad school or whatever the fuck I want to do.
Fuck
Hopefully,
yeah.
we'll be like doing well. Nick will be doing well.
Oh yeah.
I just hope that everything just keeps going like the way it's going. I would like to move out of New Orleans again, but I don't know where I'd go.
Really?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like, yeah, I mean, I love it, but I don't know. I either want to live here for forever or I need to get the fuck out of here. That's where I'm
Yeah,
at.
yeah. Okay.
Like, either we need to like buy a house and like fucking plant roots, or like I don't want to rent another apartment in New
Yeah.
Orleans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, like I want to settle down somewhere and just like I guess I want to be a homeowner by then. That sounds nice.
Fuck yeah.
So I can just do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah. You know,
Oh, yeah. That sounds
where do you
nice.
see yourself in 5 years?
Oh boy, shit. I uh I don't know honestly. I mean, maybe I'll be in New York, maybe I'll still be in Atlanta.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, maybe I'll be Phew, fuck. I don't know.
Right? It's a shitty fucking question.
Yeah. I mean, me and my buddy were trying to do like write this like TV shit. So that could
Oh
happen
yeah?
maybe. I don't know.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have a story you want to leave the people on? Do you have a story?
Oh my God.
I
Um,
know, right?
yeah. Okay. Suddenly I like have never danced a day in my life. I feel like I have so many stories. Like, what genre are we looking for? We
What's the
want to leave it
funny?
on a happy note.
What's the funniest thing that you've ever seen?
Okay. Okay, I've got three things. One thing is just like, um, just funny as if like, well, maybe I shouldn't say that. That one's pretty bad. Okay, no, now I have to. Something that's funny as a just a female in general, but it's really funny when you're getting paid to do like full sex work, right?
Yeah.
If their dick is like so obviously tiny, like there's
Okay.
no question about it.
Yeah.
It can be really, really fucking comical on like how you navigate that situation.
Okay. Okay.
And the only reason I say that is because I just always like I was talking to my friend about this the other day. Like I okay, let's say just getting super truthful here. Let's say I get paid to do a blowjob, right? And the guy's dick is like incredibly small.
Yeah.
But I still go on with like the like fake theatrics of like like
Oh yeah, yeah.
but they're so small they know that it's like a complete fabrication. Like we
Yeah.
both can feel that that's not the reality. I find that to be one of the funnier moments
Okay.
that I can, I know it sounds really weird, but to just sit there in that moment is like pretty hilarious. And it's a good way to like make something really annoying funny because you're just
Yeah.
like, how obnoxious can I make this
Yeah.
to like still get paid and like technically do a good job, but also like kind of embarrass the fuck out of this dude because
Yeah.
he knows his dick is super small. Um, okay, that was number one. That's a good one. And number two, the other day I was giving this old man, he looked just like Stanley.
Okay.
And he was wearing like a Bud Light t-shirt and like some fucking like Old Navy jean shorts with the fucking like attachment, like the little hook on the side.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It had like a latch that you could like for whatever fucking reason. Like but they just had that just like that random like piece of fabric that was like a handle on the side
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
pants.
yeah.
Just super random. So yeah, like crew socks, all the shit, and he looked just like Stan Lee. And this dude, like, you would have never guessed that he would have been a fan of me. He was like so into it though. Oh my God, it was fucking hilarious. So we go back and he spends like $300, and I was like, damn.
Hell
Not
yeah.
normally am I like shocked by this, but yeah, this guy shocked me a little bit. So I fuck, his name was Carl. And I looked down and his teeth had fallen out of his fucking pocket.
Oh
And we're just
shit.
like sitting on the chair, like on the lap dance chair. And it was like right towards the end, and I was like, fuck me. I was like, what am I gonna do? Because like if I sat down, I would like totally touch them.
Yeah, yeah.
Which honestly, like I felt bad for Carl. So I wasn't like, but still, like, who wants to sit on someone's fucking dentures? And like, why would you put them in your pocket? And like, it was like only 8 p.m. Like, can you just leave them in for like, why?
Yeah,
I
bro.
don't know why this happened this
Powder
way. Right.
powder him up,
I'm
dog.
not good
You got
enough
this.
for you to keep your teeth in. Like, so
Maybe he
yeah, I
gets
had to be like, all
excited. Like
right,
maybe that was a compliment.
don't forget all your stuff, Carl. Like, that's just what I said. And, like, stood up and he like looked around and he like saw him and grabbed him. That was pretty. And then I went out and I was like, yo. And it's like the funny exchange too, when you're like talking to floor hosts about what just happened, but no one can react
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
the guy
yeah.
is like right there.
Obviously that he's gonna be like looking at their react like
Exactly. Yeah. He's gonna say, especially if something embarrassing went down, like they're going to look like, oh man, in Asheville once. All right, last thing. So in Asheville once, there was this guy and he was in a bachelor party. They had just gotten to the club. They hadn't eaten dinner yet. It was like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And this dude just goes in and immediately buys a room with me. And I was like, cool. And you remember the rooms there were like, just like a fucking curtain and
yeah.
it's like nothing special at all. So we go back there and literally within like the first 6 minutes of just a regular, no service, no add-ons, nothing lap dance, this dude comes so hard in his pants. Like so fucking hard. But he was wearing like light gray.
Ooh, bro.
Yeah, dude. We're like
Ooh, bro.
wetting it, like, oh my God. And it was the biggest fucking wet spot
He's
right
like,
by
I
the tip of
gotta
his dick.
I gotta
No
go.
way to hide it. So then he was like, fuck, how am I literally gonna walk? It was 5 minutes into an hour long room.
Oh
And he's
god.
like,
The
I
old
was like, maybe
hour.
just sit. Yeah. Maybe just like sit and like let it dry. And he was like, dude, like if this dries, like we're supposed to go out. Their hotel was like in the
No.
fucking mountains, like 45 minutes away. So that was pretty hilarious watching him. Like I had like given him like my bag or something for him to like cover up. I felt so bad for him. He was like, we've literally been out 15 minutes and I have a huge
No.
fucking so he had to like leave, change his shorts, and then came back and met his friends back at the club.
Hey, sometimes that happens, you know.
I mean, I was shocked he came back, but
I
like
he, he he met Patricia. He's coming back, man. He's
he
coming
did come
back.
back after that too, and then I like ran into him in New Orleans too.
Really?
But
Holy
yeah,
shit.
yeah, that's funny when you see people like that. But yeah, no, I mean, there's like shit like that happens all the time. One time I watched a guy like projectile vomit a strawberry daiquiri onto this girl. She looked like fucking Carrie.
Oh
Like it
god.
was terrifying. But this bitch literally got up from the lap dance, went onto the balcony where all of his friends were standing, and was like, "You're literally looked like Carrie, like terrifying," and was like, "Your friend just fucking puked on me. I need money from each and every fucking one of you." And that bitch got like paid. And
Nice.
then she collected the payment with fucking vomit all over her face and tits and stomach. And then ended up just going upstairs and showering and just leaving. She'd made like $500 off giving them shit for it.
I mean, damn.
It was pretty terrifying to see though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Patricia, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. Like this
Yeah, I
podcast
love
this
it.
podcast would not be a thing if I did not know you, you know? and I never met
I
you.
love
So
that.
fucking, I appreciate you for coming on the podcast and changing everything.
No problem. No, I appreciate it. It's fun. I enjoy it. I hope it's like good. I hope you like it.
It's so good. It's fucking amazing. People are gonna love this. And if they
Excellent.
don't, fuck. Okay, no.
Yeah, fuck them. I'll say it. You don't have to say it because it's your podcast.
But you know how we both feel about it, So
Yeah, fuck them.
hell
They just
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know good comedy.
They
Who's your
fucking.
favorite comedian?
Who's my favorite comedian? I don't know. I mean, I like Rory Scovel a lot. I mean, I like fucking Dave Chappelle. I like
Yeah, duh. Right.
yeah. I mean, it's tough. I don't know.
Do you have any like, and now I'm like asking you a question, sorry. But I'm just wondering, do you have any like favorite comedy moment of the last like 6 months or like through the pandemic or anything?
Through the pandemic, not really. I mean, I did a show in North Carolina, and it turns out that everybody at the show, like that was producing the show, like had COVID when they put on the show.
Nice,
And
nice.
we did the show, and then they kind of told everybody, like, when we got there, they're like, oh, hey, one person's sick, but, they're not going to be out here. And then we're
Right.
all like, what the fuck? Why do you tell us? So we do the show, and then it turns out, like, literally everybody at the show has COVID, except for, like, me and my buddy that were, like, on the show also.
Jesus.
But we're good. We didn't get it, but I was still just
Well,
like,
that's good.
what the fuck, bro? Like, say
Yeah,
something
that
to a motherfucker,
sucks.
dude.
Right.
But
I think Bill Burr's monologue on SNL was one of my favorite
so good.
in like the last 8 7 8 months. That was probably one of my favorite
Yeah.
moments in comedy was that monologue was fucking great.
I know you. I know we. I mean, we talked about Bill Burr a bunch, but I mean, he's so fucking funny.
Yeah, sometimes you can like miss it though, you know? Like Kevin Hart, I think had a really funny special or two, and now his new shit just sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know, my
I
opinion,
mean,
I
I
guess.
think. I think. I think. Bill Burr likes to like try to provoke people a lot. Um, there's reasons
Yeah,
behind it.
yeah, for sure. It's like part of his. I also just think he like can't help himself but to hate everybody,
Yeah.
and I enjoy that about him.
Well, I mean, I've heard like I was watching this podcast where people were talking about him, and like one of the reasons why his kind of thing works is because it's like basically like impotent rage to where it's like he's upset, but it's like not when somebody's upset and then like there's fear attached with them too,
Mm-hmm.
like it changes how they come across. But with him, it's like such like he's upset, but he's not going to do anything about it, or
Right,
there's no threat of any kind of like harm. It's just like him being upset and the inability to really do anything about it. And this is why what he
right.
feels about it and why this is fucking stupid.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate the consistency.
Yeah. Fucking A. Man.
Cool. This was so much fun.
I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I'm excited for people to hear this.
Yeah, same. I
Fuck
hope it's
yeah.
good.
No, it's great.
Excellent. I
Fuck
bet.
yeah. We're just like, and, oh,
All right, I'm gonna go.
All right, hell yeah. Listeners, we will be back later. I hope you enjoyed my conversation today with Patricia. I mentioned it in the interview, but I don't think this podcast would be a thing if we had never met. So shout out Patricia. Thank you. Thank you. I really do appreciate you coming on the podcast. So much fun. So much fun. We didn't plug it in the interview, but you can follow her on Instagram. She is at Patty with the Cake. That is at PATTIWITDA Cake. I'll have a link in the show notes. Click the link, give her a follow, show her some love. As always, you can find us on Instagram, on Twitter at Full Service Pod. I'm at Tank Funkadelic. If you enjoy the show, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, write us a review. I'll love you forever. I'll read it on the air. This has been episode 97. I appreciate you being here. We'll be back next Tuesday, keeping this outro short and sweet today. We're almost to episode 100. It's coming up. Super excited. Gonna bring on a guest that we've had on before. Super stoked for that. But also, I think we're about to hit the like 50,000 download mark. So shout out to y'all for listening to the podcast. It really does mean a lot. So hey, we'll be back on Tuesday. I will see you then. Later. Full service.